Hey everybody, welcome to the next project. We just received a project in the mail, delivery. It is a guitar neck. We've got an outer box that was shipped. See if we can get that apart. And it's got an inner tube. And about busted my fingernails off trying to get this thing apart. It's taped on really well. And then it's got bubble wrap inside, and it's got something special inside. Oh boy, we're gonna have some fun tonight. We got a Jackson neck from, I don't know when this was made. Got a signature on it there. Cool. We are gonna be taking this one down, putting in some new frets. Just got a little bit of wear going on there. Really nice looking neck. As we start the next project. Good job shipping. A+. The Jackson ebony board has had the frets pulled out. Little touch up where the board was splintering just a little from the tangs being pulled out. Ran a leveling beam over it and found a little low spot here and a couple little low spots right, flanking the edge back here. Otherwise really good. So we cleaned that up. Originally hit it with 320 grit paper, and then I realized due to the low spot up in here somewhere and a little bit here, I needed to go a little bit more aggressive. So I put some 180 on it and ran over it, just letting the weight of the beam, which weighs pretty much nothing, do the work. Got it to where I thought I was getting close, not finished, but close. Switched back to 320 grit paper, cleaned it up, then went to 400 grit paper, rechecked it, still 12 and 14 radius, so that's good. And then just went to 600 grit paper by hand, went over it, started the polishing process. So I went 600, then I think ended up with like 1500 or something like that to give us this shine. Now this is not final shine. It's gonna get frets put in it now. Also, I clamped it to a neck beam that I made out of a 2x4, and that's just to hold the thing. Used the truss rod to make sure I had a flat neck. Did my final leveling, cleanup radius work on the neck. Itty bitty stubby truss rod wrench has to go in here. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's what they did. Very interesting neck. This is 3/4 of an inch at the first fret, 0.75 inches. At the 12, it's 0.8 inches. So very slim, very flat taper. Really nice. Very shreddery neck, I guess you would call it. Really nice. Got an idea for an upcoming Can I Do This project. So we, what else do we do? Oh, cleaned out all the fret slots, made sure they're all deep enough with a pull saw, fret pull saw. I ran a little bitty triangular file across the tops of all the fret slots just to open up the receiving part of the slot just a hair. Don't always do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today I felt like I was in the mood. So now ready to radius and cut fret wire and then nip the tang back so it's just a little bit shorter than the width of the slot. And you've probably seen me do that before. If not, you're gonna see it now as we continue the next project. So I cleaned all the straight stick fret wire to get all the manufacturing goop off it. Then I pre-radiused everything where it's going to be a 12-inch radius. I probably over-radiused to about a 10 or 11. Where it's 14, it's probably closer to 12 or 13. Nipped all the frets to just a little bit longer than they need to be. Now I'm undercutting the tang so it won't stick out the side of the fretboard. And we're going to be getting close to being ready to put frets in. Wait a minute, there's still more work to do? Darn it. Even though this fingerboard does not have binding on it, I do like shaving that little bit of nipped off tang back smooth with the bottom of the fret crown. So we got that done. Putting some protective tape just below the fret slots on both sides of the board. Ran some wax over the board and the sides of the board. Now I'm using a fake fractal press to press in the frets. I'm also testing out a new homemade neck rest of sorts. Needs some work. It's not perfect. I do square up the fractal press with a previous fret that I pressed in. I slide the neck up against it to make sure the fractal press is running square to where I'm pressing in frets. Then I move on to the next fret, press it in. And as we see here, I'm putting medium viscosity super glue in the fret slots, pressing it in, going back and forth across the board because these fractal presses aren't fractal fret call. They're not wide enough to do a full fingerboard, so you got to kind of work back and forth across the board. Did tap in one end just to make sure they stay upright in the slot, and going down the line, pressing them in. Pretty straightforward, but if you've never done it before, take your time and don't try to set records. Just do a good job, right? Yeah, right. Cleaning up my mess, peeling off the masking tape, nipping all of the fret ends back, using a couple different tools for that, and it's starting to look like it's gonna work. Now moving on, cleaning up a little bit of my mess, a little bit of super glue here and there, some wax all over the place, protecting the headstock so I don't accidentally whack it when I am beveling the fret ends back. Have the neck mounted into my neck beam 2.0, which is just a piece of 2x4 that I can clamp to my bench, using a Fret Guru XT basically to check for any high or low frets, quick marker just to black out everything, and my custom leveling beam, which is just a precision contractor's level with some, I think it was 320 grit paper at this point. Just going over to find the high and low spots, and overall it's pretty good. A couple little things to touch up, but we're getting there. Oh boy, what are we doing here? Oh, we are installing the neck in a surrogate body. Now the trick is here to spin your screws as if you're unscrewing them until they drop into the existing threads in the neck. That keeps you from chewing extra threads in the holes that are already in the neck. You don't want to do that. Okay, that's what it looks like. And that's kind of a shiny body, but that body doesn't belong to this neck. We are just setting it up in preparation to do an understring under tension leveling. So I want to get the action dialed in. I'm adjusting the bridge, getting the string height way down. I think we ended up with like 0.8 of a millimeter in the low E and 6 or 7/10 on the high E. Checking the string space over the first fret. It didn't do anything to the locking nut. I left it pretty much where it was with the original frets, so that all worked out good. Double checking, and we're about ready to move on. Oh, taking a picture. Proof of crazy low action at the moment. It won't stay there, but this is my goal at the moment. I'm aiming for low. I can always make it higher. So we've done a lot of work. We've got the new frets in the board. After pulling the old frets, leveling the board, getting it really nice. New frets are glued in. We did a flat leveling of all the frets, and that went really well. They're in really good shape. Only had a couple little random spots here and there that were off, but we did our flat leveling, got that all taken care of. Looked great. Very promising. Mounted the neck into this surrogate body, which is not a Jackson body. It's a Fender clone by Fender from China somewhere. We had to use this neck to get accurate mounting holes in the body. I had to do transfer of the holes from this neck, find out where it wanted to bolt into this body, and drill new holes in the body. A little off topic. It's all strung up now, and we got it tuned up before I put this string jack in here. Got the action set very low. We were at about 0.8 of a millimeter on the low E, the 12th, and about 6 or 7/10 of a millimeter on the high E at the 12th. Really low. Chromatic runs were fine. No problems with that. So I started doing some understring, under tension leveling using the Katana, which is like a super duper truss rod on steroids with a wide base that you can put stick-it paper on. It's got 320 paper on. I set the neck to pretty much level, flat. I adjusted the Katana to match the microscopic relief that's in the neck. Jacked the strings up with this string jack key kind of thing. It's a piece of steel with some shrink wrap tubing on it. that I can get under there and lift all the strings at one time. Now, that is probably raising the pitch of all the strings more or less evenly, putting the neck under a little more tension than I would have if they were just setting at the nut. I understand that. We're all on the same page. However, this is a neck that is under string tension. String tension is pulling the neck this way, pushing the neck that way, compressing the lumbar between here and here. It's also putting the neck under various tensions. It's not just pushing it like this, it might be twisting it. And I think that's what we're seeing. I put the katana under the first couple of strings between the B and the E, did a couple quick passes. It was taking off even amount of marker across all the frets. That's good. That's what we want. Moved up between the G and the B, did the same, looked good, did a few passes, got it all good. Went between the D and the G, and it's pretty good. Started seeing a couple little spots, but we were able to sand those out. Went between the A and the D, and I started noticing a range between like the 5th and the 10th, maybe the 11th, where it wasn't hitting. So I jumped to between the E and the A strings, hit it again, and I'm pretty much seeing where it's not touching from about the 3rd. It has this fan pattern that tapers off and kind of goes back to what, maybe the 17th, 18th, 19th, somewhere around there. So there's this pattern on the low side of the neck, the base side of the neck, where the neck appears to be depressing a bit under string tension. Interesting. That's why I'm really kind of liking this additional step in the overall setup leveling process. It helps me find places where the neck under tension is not behaving the same way it does when it's just flat with no strings on it. Because we did our flat leveling, that turned out great. So, very interesting, and that's where I'm thinking this kind of under string, under tension leveling is a good thing. I had a lot of people tell me it's snake oil. It's a waste of time. And yeah, maybe it is. Especially if you want higher action, this probably wouldn't matter. What I want to do is get this set up so it's super low and playable. And then I can raise it, and it will still be playable. I'm rambling. Let's get back to the next project. What are we doing? Oh, more tape work. Nice. I love taping things up too. It's almost as fun as sanding. There just wasn't enough sanding with this project. Oh, there's that gigantic marker again, blacking things out. Grabbed a, what is that, a StewMac original Z file. I'm going through my drawer and box of files again on this project. Always looking for something that I feel will work a little bit better with whatever project I'm working on, and it doesn't seem to always be the same tool. Some frets and some necks and some situations just call for something a little different. So I'm always trying to be open-minded to that. I am kind of stuck in my ways though. So I do rely heavily on, this is a Fret Guru Diamond Dagger 2. I use it quite a bit. Also use the StewMac Z file a lot. And this is the offset file. I think StewMac maybe still sells these. I'm not sure. This one is from Bitterroot though, so that's all right. Here I'm rounding over the fret ends a little bit. That is a Fret Guru fret end file. Love that thing. It's not a diamond file either. This is a regular steel tooth file. Using the offset file to roll over the fret ends a little bit there. Oh, here's a tool that we've been seeing more and more of. This is my grip sanding grip. Boy, that's pretty clever. I just roll up a chunk of sandpaper. Boy, what did I use here? Probably 800 grit paper maybe at this time. I don't know. I might have done like 800, 1200, 1500. I really don't remember. I should write these things down. And what I'm doing here is just using basically the wet and dry sandpaper to help remove any tooling marks, file marks or leveling beam marks, just going down the line. And I can roll the sandpaper that's in that grip as I go. So I'm always using fresh paper per fret. Now I'm wiping on some Mother's Mag polish and hitting it with a Dremel style tool and a wool pad. I was watching a video the other day by a luthier, who says he doesn't understand why anybody uses these Dremel style tools because they make the frets too hot and they sling debris everywhere. Well, they do kind of spray some stuff, but I don't have trouble with frets getting hot. I mean, I don't stay on them very long. I can touch the fret when I'm done with it, so it's not so hot that it hurts. Anyway, everybody does their own thing, and that's okay. If you have something you like doing, do it. Oh, peeling off some tape. That's almost as fun as taping, which is almost as fun as sanding. Good times. Yeah, this is not as fun as sanding either. What I'm doing here is rolling or re-rolling the edge just a little bit in between the frets. Because remember, we did clean up this fingerboard surface a little bit and probably sharpen the edge of the fingerboard just a hair. Here I'm going along and I saved some of the ebony dust when I was originally sanding the fingerboard, and I'm packing that in to the fret slot ends and gluing it in. I did sand and scrape that back. Now I'm polishing and everything up so it looks like nothing had ever been done. Just using some rosin on this handheld cordless drill just to polish things up. Both the fingerboard and the sides of the neck a little bit there. Trying to stay away from the back of the neck though, because it has like a satin, almost a natural finish to it. I didn't want to mess that up. Oh, got the Howard's Feed and Wax. I had an interesting comment recently. Somebody was asking me if this furniture polish, Howard's Feed and Wax, is bad for fingerboards. So I was like, boy, I don't know. I've been using it for quite a while. So I Googled it and found out that Howard's actually sells an axe wax. Huh, who knew? Anyway, it looks a lot like what I have here. So if you do use Howard's Feed and Wax, great. If you use Howard's axe wax, I'd like to know. Let us know what you think. Here we're taking a look down the fingerboard, making sure our frets are nice and straight line along the edge of the fingerboard. Everything's looking good and clean. It is about ready to go home. Been a fun project. Really nice neck, very thin. I got an idea for a future project.